Mean Ole Lion Media presents the Business First Podcast.
Hi, all, and welcome to another episode of Business First with Sonia Alleyne. I am your host, and today in studio, we have a talented actor, director, and producer. She has appeared in programs and shows that include A Gettysburg Christmas, The Omicron Killer, Old Gray Mare, The Cleaning Lady, which was a Fox Hulu series, and Becky. She is currently starring in Deadly Escape, and currently shopping a series in which she starred, directed, and produced called Linda. Welcome, Larissa Dali.
Thank you so much.
You have such a full schedule. How has things been?
Things have been good. I actually just got home last night from New York City. I was filming a project there and had to wake up and get to a lot of interviews today. So it's been busy, but I'm excited to be home. And tomorrow I get a day off, kind of. So it'll be nice.
Okay. All right. Very cool. So is it true that you could possibly be related, or you are related to Salvador Dali?
It is. The rumors are true that it is a possibility. I was told my whole life, ever since I, could understand what that meant, that I was related to Salvador Dali, and like my art teachers would have heart attacks when I was in elementary school. As I walked in the door, I'm like, no, please don't get your hopes up. But there is no confirmation. I am not certain if that is actual, if there's actual DNA relation. I'm not sure.
Okay. I would embrace it. I would claim it. And it's a great narrative for where you are and who you are today. Your dad was an artist, as you mentioned, and so you come by this creative energy very naturally, don't you?
I do. I have a lot of creative ideas and creative visions. I feel that I can thank my dad for it, and who knows, maybe Salvador as well. I'll claim it.
I like that. I know that you, this was a dream to act and to be in this business since you were 14 years old. Your mom wanted you to be more settled and be sure about if this was the path that you really wanted to take. She passed away when you were 18?
I was 21 when she passed
21. Away. Okay.
14
Alrighty. And it
passed, yeah. Sorry.
Okay. No, so you were 14 when your dad passed. Okay. Wow. And so when you decided to go full steam ahead into this area, what were you taking from your mom and dad and what you learned from them as you embarked on this journey?
That's a beautiful question. I think from my dad, I took the bravery, the leap of faith to be in a career path that not everyone might agree with. And it's not the most stable of trajectories. And then from my mother, not ever letting somebody tell me how to do something, kind of not taking any shit, if I could be very curt. So she was one of the strongest individuals I've ever met. I didn't think anything could take her out in this life, to be honest with you. Wow. So I think that I'll take her strength and my dad's courage to be in this industry. That's what
yeah, because it absolutely takes both to do that. Yeah. You've also been busy with all of the projects that I listed in the beginning happened around 2023, 2024. What do you think happened to really kind of give you that level of momentum that you are so busy right now, which is an actor's dream?
The momentum came, I think it was Becky went viral, but before that I was starting to get booked, and every year kind of around the time you just mentioned, I was getting busier and busier. It was just picking up steam, and the snowball hit when Becky went viral. It was a year after it had been released, and somebody had done a TikTok review on it, and it just blew up. And since then, everything has just been uphill from there. The snowball went up. That's what. So I have that to thank for sure. And that's becoming kind of like this cult classic. There's a second one on the way, by the way. Becky too.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Um, so you are now shopping a series called Linda, in
Mhm.
which you are producing it, but you're also directing and acting, which I always think is I'm always really impressed with anyone who can direct and act because I'm not in the business, but I'm imagining that it's very two different skills with the goal of making sure that this performance can connect with an audience. And so, what is that like when you are directing yourself? Can you be too hard on yourself, or can you be too easy because you're directing and you know what the role is and you know what it's supposed to do?
This, first of all, to answer your question in short, it was an insanity, but I had a very strong team around me. I actually co-directed with my partner in all this. His name's Ian Haywood. And if I didn't have him and us speaking almost every day for months and knowing the vision inside and out, I don't think I would have been able to do this. But knowing the character and also having written her, it was really interesting because I had to find this happy medium of letting go and understanding that this character is going to take its own life, even though we have all the vision and we put in all the hard work to kind of throw that away, so to speak, and trust the process and not hold on to things too tightly. And again, having the support system I did, I wouldn't have been able to do it without them. So
Yeah,
that's,
and Ian pushed you to do this. You didn't really want to do this, did you?
no, I didn't want to star in it. I wanted to direct and I wanted it to be my writing and help with production, but I wanted to step back and kind of, put the pieces together. But he was like, no, you must star in this. And now I can't see it any other way. It was a huge challenge and it was almost pushed me over the edge, but I did it. I don't regret it. And now I can't see Linda as anyone else. So it was very cathartic playing her. It
Okay.
really, very healing.
All right. So who is Linda? Because you wrote her, you wrote the script, and so you developed this character. Who is she and where did she come from inside of your spirit?
So Linda is a woman who is going through a extremely messy divorce. She has a 9-year-old daughter and dealing with a custody battle, living back with her mom, whom she doesn't necessarily get along with because her mother has her own set of issues and damage and things that she needs to work on. And so she's kind of in this place where she has to go back to a job she thought she left behind and people she thought she left in the past and thought she had outgrown. So it's really interesting because I think a lot of people can relate to having hit rock bottom or go back to something they thought they'd left behind and the pieces
Mm,
of kind of your say 10 years ahead of in your life, but you regress back to maybe who you were, and it's very interesting. She has one of the worst and best days of her life in the pilot, and I think the character's bold and brave and complex and gritty, and I don't think I've admitted this or said this before, but pieces of her remind me of my mom. I think I have a lot of elements of
mm,
my mom's name was Laura, and a
okay.
lot of elements of Laura in there. So
Wow.
wow,
Wow.
that came out.
And so, but you call yourself a storyteller. And so I would imagine that you, based on your life, the early part of your life, your mom and dad had gone through a divorce. You were born in Manhattan, moved to Texas. And so I'm sure there's a lot of emotions, a lot of stories that you are interested in telling, that you'd like to be able to share.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
One day, and I would love to be able to share all the pieces. And I think by giving myself permission to do so, I can give others
Mm,
permission to tell their stories as well, no matter how uncomfortable or different or whatever feeling attached you have. I think
right.
creating that safe space is very important. And if I can step into that anybody can. I want to be able to inspire that. So
Right.
thank you for that.
Because you've also talked about how you like feeling, and how these characters and these roles allow you to experience and have more compassion, because now you get to step into. So, for instance, Becky, I've heard you defend who Becky is, which is where you kind of play a Karen.
Yeah.
That's off the rails, like Karen to the 10th degree. But even in that, right? Even in characters where they are deemed the villain, you like to be able to find the soul in the character, to be able to find out where they came from. What do you think has inspired that in you?
Seeing the worst in humans that are very close to me. I've gone through some things in life. I've seen a lot of dark things, abuse, and seeing the dichotomy that somebody that you can love and trust can also be have that dark side, right? Not that it is justified, not that it makes it right, but that we are whole and we are not just light and we are not just dark. We are the dichotomy of both. And so say, for instance, like we go and we go to the prison system, go to a criminal, we go to someone who has killed somebody, and you talk to them, you're going to not just get that piece. If you choose to, you're not just going to get the piece and look at them as a killer. They could have been a father, a mother, a brother, a business owner, an artist, whatever it may be. We are well-rounded people, and I'm trying to help convey that we don't have to label everything and be stuck as just the villain or as just the hero or as just the daughter. And I hope this isn't too long-winded, but I really, really think this is important because a lot of people get chastised for mistakes they might have made 20 years ago. And how can you grow if nobody lets you grow? And that's why I think, as far as Becky goes, she went through a lot and became this villain because she kind of had to. And it escalates because then you feel stuck in that, because where do you go from there if nobody lets you, or if you don't trust anybody to love you again? It's all mentality, it's all perception. And I feel like now I'm getting getting very, very deep.
No, we like to go deep. In fact, we might get a little deeper, because I also wanted to ask you about. I'd watched an interview you had done, and you talked about doing your shadow work. You've done a lot of work on yourself, and I think whatever business you're in, or whatever goals and dreams you have, to be able to get there, you've got to do work on yourself. And a lot of times we don't like to do the dark stuff. We don't like to look under the covers. We just feel like we can move full speed ahead to be able to accomplish whatever we need to. And so I wanted to ask you about how some of that work that you've done has really helped you move forward in your career, and what you could share with someone who might want to enter this business. Because as you said in the beginning, this is not one where you're guaranteed anything. If you go to medical school and you do everything that you're supposed to do, you're guaranteed to be a doctor, right? If you're an engineering student and you do all the things that you're supposed to do, you're guaranteed, in most cases, to get a job. A lot of creative work, it's, we're driven by the soul, we're driven by passion, but there are no guarantees to get the work that you really, truly dream of. And so it's a long-winded question, but if you could talk about like how you've been able to do the work that has made you as successful as you are today.
More right after this.
So I love that, first off, that you made that comparison, because I promise you, I have used the doctor analogy so many times, because I've said, I'm like, the amount of work, the amount of hours I put in, I could be a surgeon.
Right.
And I'm not trying to compare them in any way. They're very different.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yes, the guarantee is, it's not guaranteed, but you have the percentage is much, much higher, right? So, but it actually started when I found out my mom got cancer. I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to be better. I wanted to learn how to be healthier. And it was all because of like the issues that she was having. I was like, okay, how can we eat better? What are some things like I dove into medically? And then I had a friend in my life at the time who introduced me to a book called Creative Visualization by Shakti Gawain. I'll never forget this because it opened my eyes to the path that I have now been on since then. And I learned what meditation was, and I learned like how different things affect our body, and then go into grounding, and it just kept opening up things like plant medicines and like from hallucinogenics to tea to it was so interesting. And so then you deep dive more, and I learned what tapping is and breath work and how all these things can become tools and utilizing them and healing the body. And I remember one specific point. I was in an acting conservatory, and we were doing voice and movement, and I was doing my voice and movement homework. And this was a few years after my mom had passed. And I was doing it in my dining room, and I burst out crying. I was enraged. I like I'm being very honest with you. I went to grab I couldn't deal anymore. I went to like grab something to harm myself. And I remember my partner at the time like grabbed me, stopped me, and was like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "I don't know. This just came up." And I realized in that moment how important doing this work was, in the sense of, okay, there's much down here going on inside of me that I have not processed. So then that opened doors to, again, like going into the shadow work, understanding what that means, and like processes for that, and doing a lot of nervous system resetting, NLP. I can go on for a while. Because it was, you try all these things like talk therapy, and I can list all of the things I've tried and errored, and I love it because now I have all these tools, and I can pull out what I need in that moment, or what I feel I need to, okay, I need to go talk to a therapist. Okay, I need to do a meditation session, breath work, whatever it may be. So it's still a process. I'm still healing. Emotions still come up. And now it's about allowing them in a healthy way, because before I was pushing them down, and something where I was going to physically harm myself came up. Right? And that's not what we want. That's not what we want.
No.
So it's become a much safer, healthier process, and realizing we can't keep those things down. It's not healthy for us. It's healthy for us to express, but we've been taught not to do that. We've been taught to repress.
So you've experienced, it sounds like, almost all of the modalities that are out there. Almost all.
If you have anything else, give it to me.
But you also work as a holistic practitioner, a spiritualist. How would you identify it? Or is there a title for that, the work that you do?
So I've newly coined myself as the alchemist actress, because I
like that.
Thank you. From like the Akashic records to human design to Reiki to energy work, it's hard to kind of pinpoint exactly what I have to offer. And I like to read into people, and whoever comes to me, and a lot of friends, however it happens. So I have newly coined the alchemist actress, because it's such a melting pot of different, like you said, modalities. It's a lot.
It's truly holistic.
Really holistic. Oh, I like that.
Well, I'm sure that's also helped you in terms of developing your characters and understanding them, because characters are not just surface presentations, right? You have to be able to have a full story for who they are. And so I'm sure all of these things have helped.
Absolutely. Yeah. The more the merrier. And it just kind of, it's like opening a new door or window to the mind, body, spirit. So absolutely.
Wow. So you are in the process of shopping, Linda. What does that look like? I mean, you're in the business. I've run into a lot of people who have ideas for stories, have developed stories in their heads, maybe have scripts written, or maybe have even done some sort of some sort of digital presentation. What is the process for shopping, getting your information out there, having people notice you? What would you advise? And what process are you going through?
So right now we're currently in the editing process because as we are going to pitch it as a limited series, we've had a couple people come our way that are interested in potentially investing. So we might go the self-funding route if we can find investors, and then reshoot it as a longer pilot and maybe sell it, or do as is, see how it goes on streaming to kind of figure out the market we're in, do the festival route. So we're kind of in the middle of the process of seeing which way we're going to go with it. If it was a perfect world, I would we would have the pilot ready and I would pitch it to HBO Max because I would know somebody there because I could see it there, and that's my vision. And I'd have the limited series ready to go. But I would just advise, like I said, I don't have the knowledge base of the post-production world and much of the sales business side. So I've been very open to receiving information from my peers, my elders, and those who have walked before me. And I'm very, very grateful for that. Again, it's all about the team and the support I have around me, because I would not be able to do that by myself. Maybe eventually after years and years and years and years, but the people I have around me that believe in this and believe in me is insurmountable. I have gratitude every day for it.
Yeah. How did you go about creating your network? You've talked about that a lot, that you have a really good support team. You have a great production partner. How is it that you selected these people? Was it intentional? And if it wasn't intentional, what advice would you give to someone in terms of the importance of hand selecting your advisory board or your team?
So no, it wasn't intentional. Again, it goes back to like the being blessed and very fortunate, but all these people I've worked with in some capacity on set in the past, and our energies just kept intertwining, or we just kept meeting again. And so every time we'd meet, we would speak further on a subject, or we would connect spiritually, or whatever have you. And it started dawning upon me. I'm like, oh, okay, there's something developing here. And then trusting the unknown, kind of falling backwards into darkness, if you will. It's like this trust fall of, okay, let's not put pressure on what this is to be. Let's see what happens. And so, now I have Ian Haywood, whom I've talked about, Kayla Donnell, who was our first AD, and she's my social media manager, my saving grace. Lakeisha Lemons, who is a powerhouse director, writer, marketing genius. She was the writer of Deadly Escape. Justin Milton, who gave me the chance, and Becky, Courtney Glade, like all these people who I've come across, or I feel like I'm giving a speech at the Oscars, but
this is good. This is good prep work. That's good.
Thank you. Oh, these people who have come into my life, and I have left the door open and just accepted the energy flow. So it wasn't intentional, but building off of that and trusting that. And now look where it's come and just where it has to go. I think it's really beautiful. But if I were to advise anyone in building that team, the structure of it is go heart-led, trust your gut, trust your heart, and be open to the possibilities, right? If it feels right and ideas are flowing and things are going, go with that. See what happens. Trust yourself.
Yeah. Rejection is something that actors deal with a lot. A lot. Some deal with it better than others, but it really does come with the territory. And, I know that the general advice is, you've got to keep pushing through. You've got to keep seeing your dream and walking toward that. But how have you been able to deal with the rejection? And again, particularly for people who are listening and interested in this industry, it is a tough one. What advice do you offer?
Man, okay. Honestly, it sucks, but you start to develop an understanding that it's not personal. It's not about you. It's about the role. It's about the story. And it could be something as simple as her hair's too short, too long. She's too tall. Her voice, just, I don't see it. The color shirt you wear, you don't ever know what it is. So don't take it personal. So what I do now is after I have an audition, I try to just, as soon as I send it in, I throw it away unless I get the part. And then I'm like, okay, where did I put that? And I go and retrieve it. And then I do the work. Because if I don't do it, if I hold on to it every time, it'll be heartbreaking. So I try to just, I do what I do best, understand it's not personal if I don't hear anything back, and just let it go. Because 9 times out of 10, you're never going to know why. You're just going to be rejected. Like you're going to be ghosted. You're not going to hear why.
Right.
You have no idea. There's no feedback. So that would be my best advice. Just keep doing what you do. And don't take it personal. Let it go. If it's meant for you, it's meant for you. And those parts will be meant for you.
So where can people watch any of these movies? I know that Becky is on Prime, and I know you have some shows on Tubi, but is that primarily where people, if they did a Google search of any of these shows, where could they find them?
Yes. If you Google my name, my IMDb will come up, and there's like where to watch buttons, I believe, on there. But a lot of stuff would be on Prime, Tubi, and I believe YouTube as well. Okay. And the only thing I think on Hulu would be Fox, because it's The Cleaning Lady, not syndicated television. That doesn't exist anymore. But because it's a Fox show, it's on Hulu. So, but yes, those are the 3 main platforms. All of my work is on at the moment.
Okay. And where do we follow you until you get the opportunity to make this Oscar speech? Until that time.
I am on Lolly Dali on most platforms, on Instagram and TikTok are where I'm the most active, and also Facebook as well. But I'm working on a website to streamline everything. So you could just go to one place and go to all my links and see all the things.
Okay. And so it's Lolly Dali as in LOLL.
LOLLYDALI.
DALI. Okay. Well, we look forward to seeing you continue to grow and succeed. And all the best on Linda. I'm sure it will land somewhere spectacular. And we'll be watching. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. And thank you all for listening. We'll be back again next week with another great guest.
The Business First podcast is hosted and produced by Sonia Alleyne. Executive producer Ken Johnson. Find the Business First podcast on Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Spotify, Odyssey, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, TuneIn, or wherever you get your podcast. On social media on IG at business_first_podcast. Follow the Mean Ole Lion Media Podcast Network on IG at Mean Ole Lion Media. Get the Mean Ole Lion Media app in the App Store or Google Play. The Business First Podcast is a Mean Ole Lion Media production.